Hey guys, welcome to Homies and Houses. Today we have Jen and Joe, Delle Fave, and they're going to tell us a little bit about seller financing. To get started, you guys want to tell us how you got into real estate investing and kind of a little bit of background?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having us on. We're super excited to share our story with your audience and hopefully inspire people out there who are just looking for something different, a little sick of the 9 to 5 and looking for some freedom. We're hoping to be your, action taker, inspiring how we were able to do it because, yes, I once upon a time was a middle school English teacher and thought that my goal in life was to get that little gold bell after 30 years and retire. And in 2008, I ran into this handsome young fella who ended up opening my eyes in more ways than one and realizing that there are many opportunities out there to make money. You could actually build a business together, and real estate was the path that we fell down early on in our relationship. He started taking me to these like junker houses. I mean, like disgusting cat pee houses, like dirty, gross. I'm like, why are we going out on all these properties? I own my own house, you own your own house. And he's like, there is money to be made here.
Well, and I got lucky. I found a course on television. My buddy bought it 25 years ago. It was the year 2000, and I still
Whoa.
have like the VCR tapes, but I watched the tapes, I read the book, and then what I did was, and I was so poor, I was so broke at the time, but I wholesaled my very first property. I only owned my first house for half an hour and I flipped it. And I made almost $13,000, which changed my life. So when I met Jen in 2008, I had a job, she had her own job, but I'm like, hey, like this is real estate thing, and like you got to come with me. And she was confused because like that wasn't her thing. It was not like houses. She was an English teacher, and we already have an extra house because she moved in with me. So like, why are we trying to buy another house? I'm like, well, because there's this like way we can make more money as we're older.
I really thought after living in different apartment buildings, and I'm like, that's for those people, right? The investors. I didn't realize like an everyday person could get into buying properties and actually earn some money along the way. And then what I really fell in love with is once we got into this journey, it was helping out some of the homeowners. And then also we turn renters into homeowners themselves with lease options we can get into. So a whole new world opened up for us.
Jen, were you really worried about the risk when Joe was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this real estate thing"? Were you really worried about like the risk that would
I was
involve?
super naive. So at the time, no, I didn't understand it. Like literally 2008. So like everything is a financial crisis. Banks aren't lending. Like stuff was going wild. And I kind of was like, oh, that's your cute little project, honey. Like I'll support you as your girlfriend. And I really just like was like, cool, like do what you want. Like it's kind of like your money. We weren't, engaged yet. We weren't married. So the first house we bought together, it was his project. Fast forward, once we're like 3, 4, 5 rentals deep, now I'm kind of like, what are we doing here? Now we're married. Now we have 2 kids. It's like 2016, 2017. I realized we had a lot going on. I started getting a little bit nervous, and how I calmed those nerves was by jumping into it and getting a really great mentor and understanding like there are certain systems and processes and ways to do things so that you can help mitigate some of that the risks that do come along.
You said you got a
Yeah.
mentor. Did you guys do that separately or together? Do you guys have like separate investments or how does that work?
No, I roped her into it.
He took me out to dinner.
Well, because what
Okay.
happened was we
Okay, gotcha. That's the mentor.
yeah, so we were already married, and at that point, we already had joint accounts for everything. But when you're doing this together with your spouse, and you both have like your future in the same boat together, and you're both rowing the same direction. But so what was happening was we were doing what's called BRRRR in the beginning. I didn't know what that even stood for, but we were finding junkers. We would remodel them. We would rent it out, go to the bank, pull our money back out, and go look for another deal. And it was so slow. But when I found out in 2016 that the bank will cut me off at 10 mortgages, and I was refinancing out of one of them, and I knew we wanted to have 100 homes. So I felt so defeated. I felt like we're never going to get there. I'm going to be stuck working at this crappy dealership for the next 50 years, right? And I was like sad. So when we found out that we could buy real estate without huge down payments, without using the banks, without even needing a credit check, and we've got great credit, but it's not even needed anymore. I'm like, okay, like we need to learn how to do that. So I took Jen out to dinner. I made sure she had a couple glasses of wine, and I was like, hey, listen, like there's people out there that are going to show us how to do this. It costs a lot of money. And we're going to have to like up our hustle a little bit more. But like, here's the thing for us. So when we started implementing these strategies in 2016 and 2017, of how we're acquiring properties. And then once we bought them, we were even doing the lease with the option to buy. So we're actually now making a ton of money with our rentals. Our portfolio doubled in the next 3 years.
Wow.
And then what happened was 6 years ago, almost the day COVID happened, and they were closing down all the dealerships. They were closing down everywhere upstate New York because we used to live in New York. Now we're in Florida, which is like beautiful and sunny today. So this is why we did that. But when they closed the dealerships down, Jen, it was her. It was all her. So in the beginning, I kind of like dragged her into it. Now she's like, "You're not going back to work. We're going to do this full time." But we knew that we didn't need a W-2 to qualify for a bank loan. We're already buying houses with just some of them $100 down with no interest. Like some of these sellers never even charges any finance, like a 0% mortgage. Like we were getting those. So I was like, when we learned that, I was like, this is all I want to do anyways. So I don't need a job anymore to keep on growing our portfolio. So in the beginning of 2020, we had a different coach then, and it was our coach we share. But that coach said, guys, if you're going to do this full time, like you need a couple helpers. So we just brought on interns, like guys with no experience, had no clue what they were doing, and we trained them. And we went from doing one deal every year or so to doing a deal every month. And then
Wow.
we brought on another intern, and now we're doing like multiple deals every month. So in the beginning of a global pandemic, we decided to take that leap of faith, and our business
We
just
had nothing else to do.
we had nothing else to do. We weren't going anywhere. New York was locked down. You had to wear a mask everywhere. And so
Yep.
when we work from home, and we're doing all these deals all over the country now, we weren't just doing them in Rochester, New York, because we learned how to do this virtually too.
Yeah.
Jen's like, I'm not going to be stuck in another New York winter without traveling. So our bug was to like travel while we were doing this. And lo and behold, we fell in love with Florida and just moved here. We could
Nice.
go anywhere now. We didn't have to be stuck in New York anymore. We still go back there and visit, but not in the wintertime. I only go in the summertime when it's warm and it's a million degrees down here.
Minnesota, so I got my sweatshirt and my blanket today. We got like a foot and a half of snow a couple days ago in March. So my dream is also Florida as soon as I can kind of quit my 9 to 5. So that's why I'm super interested in this topic. Is there like a specific deal you can walk us through, maybe a recent deal or maybe just one of your favorites from like beginning to end and how that looks for someone looking to get into this?
I mean, we got both, right? So whatever ones you want. I've got one that we're buying in Sarasota right now. The seller reached out to us, said, I've got a house for sale. Would you be interested in buying it with seller financing? I said, well, I'm all ears. What do you got? So we're buying this house. It's in Sarasota. It's built in 2007, so it's not really an old house, although the AC and roof are all brand new. But he got his job transferred to California. He lived in the house for 4 months, and then he got an email saying you got to go back to office. So he's like, now I'm renting this place out, but I didn't intend to be a landlord, and I don't want to be a landlord in California with my Florida house. So what we did is we made the deal. We're buying his house, turnkey and beautiful, renter already in place, with only $5,000 down, and it has a 3.25% interest rate. So these are the deals that like, oh my gosh, I will take it. So when not 20% down and paying 6, 7, 8% interest rates, like those deals just don't cash flow. It doesn't make sense to even do those. And so a lot of our friends are frustrated because they're like, I can't pencil anything out that's working right now. And I'm like, well, when you learn this strategy, you don't need a bank approval. You don't need financing. You just need to be able to cover some closing costs and sometimes just a couple grand down. And we're still getting interest rates in the 2s and 3s on some of these properties. The way that we buy, we're always getting good rates. So that's a recent one. I think we're closing next week.
25th.
So how did they find you, or like what gave them your phone number? And that's because of your like social media presence?
Well,
Yeah.
she taught me that part. I was not a,
Between my English teaching and then I had some babies, had 2 beautiful children, and I realized that as much as I love being a stay-at-home mom, I still wanted to do something more. So I kind of fell into the whole MLM. I was selling some jewelry, did some Advocare, which was like vitamin supplements, had to lose the baby weight. But what I discovered along the way was basically social selling, and that how many people are actively on their phones, on their laptops. They're all over Facebook, obviously Instagram, YouTube. But what we found was that there's a niche with Facebook because there's so many levels to it. And the older people who own homes are on Facebook. So just by broadcasting every single day for free who you are and what you do, that you're buying properties. Literally, people will DM you if you're loud enough on social media and you just show your face. So you're not hiding behind stock photos. You're not, pretending that you're something you're not. And honestly, a lot of people love working with just a normal couple or just a person in general instead of like a big corporation. And there's oftentimes people don't want to list for so many reasons. They don't even want to go the route of a realtor. So while agents are great and all, there's some times where people just want to do an off-market deal, direct seller to investor, and it is one of the best ways. We have so many people that just use social media for free and get these deals all over the US. So it's just getting out of your comfort zone. If you're someone who doesn't like social media, you're really missing out on being able to help people and then also make some money along the way.
I think a lot of people, oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no, that was all her. I was not a social media guy.
He didn't even have Facebook. I had to make his Facebook to show people I was dating him back in like 2008, and then Instagram he just got in 2020. But now he actually has way more views than me, so figure that one out.
I want to buy
Yeah,
houses.
just by posting like our podcast is gaining traction and stuff like that. I only have Instagram right now, but I've gained like 1,900 or something followers in the past 2 months. Just like posting our podcast and just giving real advice and saying, oh, this is a topic I know nothing about, just being honest. And that's something that drew me to your page as well, was just like, oh, these are like real people doing seller financing. That might be the next step in my investing career, since right now I'm buying another one right now. I close on the 1st, but I'm through a bank at the moment.
This is way easier because every time that we had to use a bank way back before, gosh, all of the forms, and then we've got great credit too, but like all the stuff that we needed.
We need proof of it, all the things. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a that's how we connected, literally on Instagram. So the power of social media is real. So anyone listening, you don't have your pages up and running, like this is your sign. Go start them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'll get Facebook, but I'll keep my Instagram presence for sure.
Yeah.
But so like, why do you think, well, this kind of goes with social media, but I just feel like a lot of people might just like lack the confidence to get started, to put themselves out there on social media or to say that they're looking for a deal. I think, I forgot who said this. It was at BP, the Bigger Pockets conference. That's where Rachel and I met. He said like, just posting that you're a real estate investor, even if you haven't done your first deal yet, just putting that out there and that like you're buying in like whatever area and being specific, that can just draw people to you. Like, oh yeah, my grandma's like looking to sell her house or this or that, and just putting yourself out there. So what advice would you give to those who think like the regular everyday person can't do real estate?
Well, it really goes back to your mindset. So if you haven't done any personal development, and I mean like just listening to some audiobooks, podcasts are great, and there's a ton of free advice on YouTube, but I mean like go back to some classics like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It's a heavy read, but you could sit down for 8 minutes a day and listen to it or read some pages. We've got Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, How to Win Friends and Influence People. What's the other one? The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Yeah, by Og Mandino. It's having the belief.
Yeah.
And sometimes having that blind faith, which is something that it hasn't happened yet, but I know that this can happen because it's happened for so many other people. If I just take the same steps that they take, that I can do the same things. So it's seeing it, believing it, and then achieving it, I think is really the key.
Yeah, so I would say like start with Think and Grow Rich, and because it literally lays out the whole path. And I read that like really intensively in 2020 when I was like, okay, this is it. Like this is do or die. We are going to make this thing work, or he has to go back to the dealership, which was not going to happen in my head under my watch. And so really getting yourself in that zone and taking yourself seriously, taking it as a business, and then getting in the right rooms. This is not something, especially with creative seller financing, wrap mortgages, lease options. There's a whole bunch of crazy terms and words out there that you will drive yourself nuts trying to figure it all out. Hit the easy button and hire a mentor, get a coach, join a community of people that are actually doing these deals, not someone who said they did them all these years ago, or maybe they've done one, but actually get in the right rooms, because what's also going to happen is once you start doing it, your friends, your family, people that don't have any idea about real estate investing, they're going to question the crap out of you. Like they are going to be, it's like crabs in a bucket and you're the little crab trying to get out, and the crabs all pull that one crab down because they think like something bad's going to happen to you. Most people, they don't they don't want to work a little bit harder and move to Florida or build a portfolio. Most people want to stay comfortable, complain about all the things they don't have, but they're going to scroll, doom scroll, they're going to watch Netflix. So it's a lot of mindset. Like literally 90-95% of this is just the belief and really pouring into yourself, getting around the right people. And then the rest is just following a process. Like find the system and plug and play. Like what we're doing, we did not invent. We literally just copy and paste like what all the people before us have taught.
I love how you invested in yourself because a lot of people will be like, well, maybe a coach is, I don't know, $5,000, $7,000, just depending on the mentor you talk to. But that investment in yourself is so, so important going forward because I feel like a lot of people don't do that because they're like, well, I want to use that money for my first house eventually. But they might never buy that first house if they don't invest in themselves. And then, so do you guys like have webinars or workshops that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So because we were able to bring on a guy who was delivering pizzas and a gentleman who was a bartender, and one of our friends out of Pennsylvania was an ER nurse, and she's like, I'll work for free, just teach me how you're doing this. And we brought her on, ended up like quitting her job. She was on our team like full time closing deals with us. We started getting a lot of people asking us like, how are you doing all of this? So my background being a teacher, and he's always done a bunch of trainings and being a leader in his former position too. So we started our coaching. We started with just a handful of one-on-ones, and they saw so much success. Now they've gone off, quit their jobs. They wrote books with bigger pockets. And so, yeah, it was just like that feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, like you can really like change other people's lives on a new level. So we are constantly doing our master classes. We try to keep it, we understand people's time is really precious. So we keep it to about an hour-ish, but we cover like actual deal studies, which I think breakdowns are everything, right? When you can see something from nothing, basically, how you got the deal, what you did with it, how it turned into, a bunch of money, basically, and how you're helping all these people. We do take time to do that.
Yeah, our one webinar that we do is we did a deal with $7,000 down on a turnkey beautiful house. And from that one deal, it's turned into over 270,000 worth of profit, multiple deals, all from just like this one text message. Like, and we walk you through like how it happens and how it's a repeatable process once you understand a system. Because for us, doing one deal, when I did my very first deal, it took me 8 years to do my second deal. I got lucky, I found a deal. But what we were missing was an actual system that could get us continual deals and how we can get actually deal flow to scale our business, because I don't want to work in a dealership. So the fact I was 42 when I was able to quit my job permanently, walk away and travel the world and move and do all these wonderful things at that age, where now all my friends want to like, hey, I saw you doing that. Now you guys are blowing up. And now like, how do I get in too?
And even better, now we've got like the 23-year-old who just graduated college, goes to her job for a year and is like, yeah, heck no, like I don't want this life. I want to go do what I want, And so it's just crazy, At any age this works, whether you're like 50 or you're 20, like you just need that burning desire and that just don't quit. Like you can't fail in real estate if you just don't quit. You just keep going, you keep showing up. And I think that's true with anything in life.
Yeah. For sure. You're hitting a target, because me and Alana both feel that way. I've been in the 9 to 5 for 2 years, and I'm like, oh, yeah, get me out of here. And Alana is kind of in a similar situation, just a little bit later on.
Yeah, I wish I would have started earlier because then, like, I didn't start investing till I was 28 or 29, maybe. I'm 34 now. And so Rachel's younger than me and wants to retire by 30.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
goal.
at least
I'm
not that
20. I'm
goal, because
25.
even if you like miss the like 30 mark, you're still further
Yeah.
than someone who just accepted it was going to take like 25 years.
If I
Here's
retire
the
at
crazy
35,
thing.
that's still better than working until I'm 65, Like setting goals is still, I don't know, you're working towards them. You might not reach them, but you're still doing better than the majority of the population and still doing really awesome things in life.
Here's the
But
thing is with the right strategy, I mean, it doesn't take 10 years. It doesn't take 5 years. I mean, it could do in just a couple with the
yeah.
right strategy. And this is what blew my mind was like, oh my gosh. So when we did it, we really blazed that trail. And when we've helped so many other people do the same thing, what we realize is like, hey, this is the actual path to freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. I live in Florida. I don't go to the beach like I would like to because I buy houses, right? Like we've got stuff
Yeah.
going on. We've got a portfolio
Mm.
of properties. We're constantly got flips going on, renovations, renters.
Hmm.
Like we've got all of these things constantly in motion. So we have an executive assistant who does help us, right? But we're doing deals, and that's where we're constantly churning that. It's just my passion. But you could do this anywhere around the globe. So when we want to travel, I'm not stuck to one location. If I want to go to Europe for a month, like we can, and still manage everything there because we do it virtually. I don't go to property. We live in Florida. We're buying houses here, but we're also doing a lot of deals in New York right now. So it's having the right systems in place so you can do that. And I mean, you could quit your jobs and you'd be shocked how quick you can do it with the right systems in place.
So how does it like so someone reaches out to you and then like what are the next steps? Like how does that work? Like what kind of contracts do you have to write up? Like what kind of form, like you talked about the bank. So like what's the equivalent in the seller financing? Like what are you doing instead of obviously you're drawing up some sort of contract, but like what else do you have to do in order to get that like deal closed, you know?
So the first thing you got to do is you have to find out, are they a motivated seller? Do they have a house they want to sell, or is it a house they need to sell? I
Mhm.
only work with the need. If you want to go sell your house or you're thinking of it, go list that sucker with an agent. Our crowd is somebody who needs to sell a property. Now, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong, my guy Tyler lived in California, house is here, it's rented, he's got a manager in place. Did he need to sell it? He probably didn't need to, but it was on a high, like,
Want.
want, very high want.
Mhm.
So I look for that. So my first thing is like, do you have a house that you severely want to sell, or is it like you need to sell it? If you're not those two things, I don't even want to mess with you. And then here's the thing is when I first got into this, I was only looking for the fixer-uppers, the houses that Jen and I could buy at a big discount that we could remodel, go to the bank, get our money back out, and rent it. So what I realized was anytime somebody reached out with a really nice house, I would just say, no, I can't help you. Go list it with an agent. And what I didn't realize, we were passing on the very best deals. We were passing on the very best leads. So when somebody's like, I don't get good leads, like I used to say, I'd still have all these people who wanted too much money for their house, especially if it was really nice. And I would just say, I can't do anything for you until I stopped being a knucklehead and realized that those are the actual best deals. And so when we had just the shift, right, and it was coaching, we had a really good help to teach us this. I'm like, man, now I can make an offer on everything. The fixer-uppers, I still love them. I make those offers. But on the nice house, especially if the seller wants too much money, I can make a seller financing offer on that. And that's how we're still getting deals with some of them $100 down, covering some closing costs, no contractors, no banks, no nothing. And we own a turnkey house now. That's the first step, right? And then after you come across, you agree on some terms, you put it on paper, you have it professionally closed with an attorney or a title company, depending on where you are, that know how to do that. And there's some
Mhm.
other stuff there that gets, really deep into training. But that's really, the 50,000 foot view on exactly how that's done.
Wow, that's awesome. So, to wrap up here, well, first, how can people contact you? Obviously, you said social media, but what are your names on social media and what is your website?
Yeah, I love Instagram, Jen Delle Fave, and he's Joseph Delle Fave. He likes Facebook a little bit more. But then creativefinanceplaybook.com, if you head over there, you'll see all of our social links. We've got a really great YouTube channel that we've had some recordings throughout the last few years. So lots of training there. So if you're listening, you're like, I have no idea what that guy just said. That was me back in 2017. So go binge listen and just start getting used to thinking outside of the box. Because that's all this is. It's just creative ways to do real estate.
And guys, if I got her into it, you can too,
I
because
was not a numbers girl.
she's like, I'm not a numbers girl, I'm just an English teacher. I'm like, now you're a real estate mogul. Look at you, girl.
Numbers girl either, but $100 down sounds amazing. I
Yeah.
am bartending right now. I went back to bartending and saving every dollar I have for like a $10,000 down payment in a couple, or on the 31st in a week or two, whatever that is.
That's
So
awesome.
$100 down sounds a lot better.
Let me tell you, the very first house that we did this way, seller Steve inherited grandpa's home. Nice house, really nice neighborhood, cul-de-sac, the school's right there, second house from the end of the street. And when he reached out and he said, I'm not taking a lowball offer, this isn't a junk house. And I said, no, I could pay your price if you're open to doing seller financing. He said, I'm all ears. So what we did is we bought that house. It's 10 minutes from our old house in New York with $100 down. He didn't even charge us interest because we paid his price. So we had a flat $500 payment, and every $500 we gave him came off our balance. So no
Oh
interest.
my
We paid a
gosh.
couple thousand in closing costs. And here was the best part. When we put in our renter, instead of just doing a regular lease, we did a lease with the option to buy. So our renter moved in and gave us $1,000 to move into the house plus first month's rent. So we actually got paid to buy it. We were charging them $1,300 for rent. So after taxes and insurance and Steve's $500, we still made almost $500 every month. But then we're also paying down Steve $6,000 a year because 500 times 12 months was 6,000. So our balance was paying off super quick, and our renters were responsible for all of the maintenance and repairs because that's how a lease with the option to buy works. But this wasn't a junker. This was like a really nice house. So it wasn't much for them to do anyways, unless they want to like paint the kids' room or something. But that was really the goal. So after I bought a house with $100 down and no interest, and then our renter gave us all that money to move in, we looked at each other like, okay, like we see the light, like this is all we want to do. The heck with
Yep.
banks, like no more financing, like they suck and this is way better. And like that's all we want to do. So that's how we doubled our portfolio in like 3 years, literally from just that one method.
Well, Jen and Joe, that's amazing. I think this is really going to inspire a lot of people that are either already in their investing journey, like me, who's never really dabbled in seller financing yet, or just the person that is wanting to get started. I think we covered a lot of those mindset topics. So thank you. Anything else, Rachel?
No, but you've definitely inspired me. That's gonna be my whole afternoon now is looking into that. Thank you so
Then join our
much for your
Facebook group.
time.
Join our
Yes, I
Facebook
will.
group. If you're on Facebook, I know you're not, but if you're Rachel, if you're on Facebook, join our Facebook group, Creative Finance Playbook with Jen and Joe. We share tons of different things, our trainings, all of the stuff goes in that group. But once you're in there, you could see exactly how this is done. And our webinar that we do on Fridays just walks you through every step. So I definitely recommend y'all come to that too, because it's an hour, but it'll be the best hour you spend all week. Because once you see how this is done, like all the dollars, where it all went, you realize it's a lot easier than you could think. And here's the fun fact is 40% of houses across the whole country are owned free and clear.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
40%. So seller financing is easy peasy when you find a nice property. And I mean, it's the greatest.
That's awesome. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Well, thank you for having us,
Yeah.
and definitely reach out. We love this so much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yep. See you next time.
Thank you.